y'all? Welcome back to my channel. So I'm excited because we have a cooking video, and I haven't filmed a cooking video in so long. So I was like, you know what, Ariel, this is your time to do it because I barely have time, like the majority of days. But now I got a little bit of time before we go back to school, so I'm like, let me get in the kitchen. Let me get in the kitchen. So I usually don't wear an apron, but I feel like if I put the apron on, I'm gonna feel like I'm doing something for real, for real. That Shadow drinking his water back now, just so you know. This is cute. I got it for spooky season. I got it from Home Goods, and I had to say at Home Goods, I'm not gonna lie to you, because Home Goods, you go up in there, you be like, oh, I need to get this one thing. Why is not asking for? Why is not asking for? Anyways, before I put my apron on for real, this is my shirt I got from Kaylani. It was the Next to You like fundraiser tee, and it was actually like screen printed in Palestine. So we love to see it. But anyways, I'm going to prep a couple things. That's like the main stuff that I'm doing today. Okay, so I was just thinking, also, I got my cup from Home Goods. Love it, love it, love it. I used to, oh my God. But this is not Stanley because I ain't gonna pay for this. This is a Hydro Peak. I don't care, it does its job, so whatever. But I was just thinking about how I feel like Stanley's, like, you know how Mace is like a self-defense. I feel like Stanley's could be self-defense weapons. I'm not gonna lie to you, because you get a good grip on it. Because this ain't even real one. This one, I feel like if you're to box somebody across their head because they're trying to play with you and try to, you know, get a good grip. Bop. Like I'm not telling you, you know, say go bop people with your Stanleys or your cups. But if you were to defend yourself, this could probably, you know, it could probably do the job, you know. Okay, so we had some turkey, because like somebody gave us a whole ass turkey, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't really eat turkey like that. But I was like, okay, like we ate some of it, but I just have to just shred up the rest of the turkey, and I'm gonna freeze it, and I would end up probably putting in like some type of soup or something, some type of meal, because this is like basically, this is a whole meal by itself. Like you just gotta like change how you look at things, because that's what I do. I'm like, okay, you know, what can I do with this? Like I really just be coming up with shit in the kitchen. That's really what we have now. And then these are like the bones and like the skin part, because I'm not gonna lie, thank you for the turkey, but I don't know, whoever cooked this bitch for real, for real. So I couldn't even like shred some of it, and like the skin was like so tight, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just use that to make broth. So that's what I'm gonna do with that. Okay, so I bought some kale because I originally was gonna cook this for New Year's, but then I was like, you know what, I'm not doing this shit. So I'm gonna end up freezing these, and that way, like whenever I need it, I can just unfreeze it, throw it in soup, throw it in pasta. You can really do a lot with it. So that's probably what I'm gonna go do. Yeah. So I got this asparagus, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wash this off, and then I'm gonna chop off like the little inner part that you're not really supposed to eat, and then I'm gonna chop them in half, and then I'm gonna freeze them. Okay, so I got a bunch of peppers. I have yellow peppers, green, orange, and red, and I'm going to use the bottom of them to basically like be shells, because I have some buffalo chicken dip and I need to do something with it. So I was like, okay, I can just chop off the bottom of these, stuff them with the buffalo chicken dip, and then chop up the rest of the peppers and use that for like some meal or pasta or something. Okay, so I got some yellow onions. I love putting yellow onions in honestly anything. So I'm gonna just chop these up. I'm gonna use some like diced, and some of them are gonna be like the actual like strips of onion. Okay, so I always use mushrooms. So I got these baby bella mushrooms, and I'm basically going to like wash these and then just slice them up, and then also dice some of them for like whatever meals I'm gonna use. And I'm probably not gonna use this week because there's some food I need to cook in the fridge. So I'm just gonna put these in the freezer once I'm done like chopping them up. So I got 2 bags of carrots. I'm gonna keep one of the bags in the fridge, and then with this bag, I'm basically just going to just slice them in like half or like 3, and then just freeze them so I can add them in soup. Cause I feel like what I'm gonna end up doing eventually is taking some noodles, and then like some of that turkey, and then this, it may be like spinach or kale or something, and make like a chicken noodle soup. So that's when I'm like, okay, I can just go ahead and put this stuff up, and I can make that whenever like we need food, because right now we got some stuff in the fridge and I don't want to waste that stuff. So I'm gonna just put this stuff in the freezer, and that also saves me from having to go to the store later on down the road. So I bought 2 things of spinach. So one of them is really gonna be for shadow, the other one's gonna be for like some pasta I want to make. But I'm gonna go ahead and basically just saute this and really just cook it in water on the stove, and then I'll just separate some for shadow, and I'm gonna separate some for me, and so I can actually cook. Okay, so if you know me, I love tomatoes. Like I literally like, and it's so crazy because I hated tomatoes growing up, but I would put tomatoes in anything now, and I know how to like add them to like my diet and stuff and certain recipes just so I can get some more, you know, veggies in or whatever. So I got these Kamado brown tomatoes, and what I'm doing for these is basically just wash them off and like slice them like they would be on like a burger or something. But I'm gonna like season them a little bit and then just put them in the oven, and then I can add that to my sandwiches I'm gonna make like during the work week. Okay, and I got these other tomatoes. These are the Heavenly Bellagio Marzano tomatoes, and I'm basically going to wash these off, split them in half, and then cut those in half, so make them fours. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do with these. I'm gonna cook them in the oven too, and then I can add that to actual pasta that I'm gonna make, because I bought this pasta from Trader Joe's that I'm gonna eventually cook this week. So this is the pasta I got. I got the spinach tortellini. I'm gonna make this probably this week. I got some vodka sauce from Trader Joe's in there. I'm gonna add those tomatoes, probably add spinach, and then maybe like garlic or something, and make like a little like, you know, pasta dish. And I got these king oyster mushrooms. I have to look up a video for this, but I really want to see what I can use these in, because I don't know. I've seen people do videos, but I need to make sure I know what I'm doing before I start cooking these. So I also got these organic brown beach mushrooms, and I've never had them before. You have to cook them a certain way. So I'm gonna leave these in the fridge until I watch a video and like actually know what I'm doing when I cook these. I had pickled these banana peppers like a couple months ago, and I'm basically going to rehome this. I'm gonna put some in the actual jar, and then I'm going to dice up some because I've been wanting to add it to like chili, and I can like add it to pasta and just whatever, like add it to my salads, because I just need to really actually use this since it's up in the fridge. Okay, so now I'm actually gonna get to like the cooking part. So first thing I'm gonna do is turn on my oven and turn it on 350, and I'm going to cut up these Kamado tomatoes, season them, and then put them in the oven when the oven is done. And I'm gonna go ahead and before I even start cutting these up, I'm gonna put the turkey and the bones and the kale in the freezer, so I already have it like out the way. What is up, y'all? So this is voiceover Ariel, and I'm just gonna be honest, like I'm so excited to just like post this video and stuff. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, the original like length of this video before I edited it was like over an hour long. Like that's how much footage I had. So I cut a lot of it down, you know, because some of the stuff is just like repetitive, so I'm like, okay, you know, I'll just cut it out. It's not that important. But I have not like made a down south bowl video in a very long time. So if you don't know, Downsouthbowl was the name of my food page. It's a food Insta page, and it's been up, like it's still up. It's like literally Downsouthbowl. But I started that back when I was like vegan. I'm trying to think when that was. That was like 2018, like when I first started it. And I was like posting a lot of videos, and not even just really videos, but a lot more pictures. And I was just like playing around cooking with stuff, because at that time, if you were like vegan, vegetarian, plant-based, it was a lot harder to find like products and stuff, just because there wasn't that many. There was a lot of like tofu and stuff like that, and then some of the alternatives, like they tasted terrible. I'm gonna be honest with you, some of that stuff tasted so bad. But I have been just trying to incorporate more plant-based stuff, like vegan, vegetarian stuff in my diet more. And I'm not like I would never call myself like plant-based or like vegan, vegetarian ever again, just because I feel like when it comes to me and my diet, sometimes it just changes based on like the season or like what's going on. So, you know, I do what I do, but I just like try to like create a balance and make sure that I'm eating healthy foods. And like, you know, if I'm eating some bullshit, I need to balance it out. So like my whole diet cannot be bullshit, or else I'm gonna feel terrible. And it's gonna start like, you know, changing certain things with my body and whatnot. But side note, if I sound crazy, it's because I'm getting over to like this little cold, so please excuse that. But I love doing tomatoes like this. I usually put these in the oven for a little while. If you're someone who like forgets to like check on your food, like you doing stuff and like you get distracted, I always say like set a timer, because that has helped me so much. If I had not been setting timers within the last couple of years, baby, I would have probably burnt almost every single thing, because I be doing like multiple things when I'm cooking usually. So then like I forget them, like, oh shit, like when did I put the in? And I'm like, oh, I need to go check on that, and then why that shit burnt. So I definitely suggest using timers. Either you could do it on your like oven, your microwave, or your phone. Like it really just depends on like what I got going on. Sometimes I have multiple timers on just to keep me like, you know, focused and like know what I need to be doing, because like I said, I will get distracted. But I bought some of this stuff. It should be in like the Trader Joe's haul that I posted not too long ago. So basically I'm just like meal prepping a lot of that stuff. Usually when it comes to like me, when I like buy groceries, like there will be a time when like I kind of like stock up on a lot of like fruits, vegetables, like protein, just stuff like that. Like I will go like grocery shopping and buy a good amount of things, and a lot of times it's like I'm not going to use all of that within a week or even a 2-week, you know, span or whatever. Sometimes it just helps for me to go to certain grocery stores, especially if it's a grocery store like Trader Joe's, where like there's only one Trader Joe's and it's like so far away and it'd be crowded as fuck. It's like, okay, I know that I'm not going to be going to Trader Joe's like again for a little minute. So I buy like different things that like, you know, usually keep me like stocked up for a little while. I'm not gonna lie to you, I went to Trader Joe's recently. Like, mind you, this video is from like December, I think. Like winter break, because that was like right before we went back to school, and it's literally April as we speak. So like I went to Trader Joe's not too long ago, and like I'm almost like out of everything that I've used. I just gotta like make some like tempeh and like some other stuff. So I might be like posting a little tempeh video, because it has been years since I've made that, like probably since 2018 since I made that. So I just want to like try some new stuff, like, you know, get in the kitchen, actually like cook, because like I love cooking. Like sometimes do I have the energy to cook? No. Like a lot of times when I come home from work, I don't really want to cook. Like it just depends on the day, you feel me? Because sometimes I'm just like overwhelmed. I'm just like, bro, I just want to sit down and like just breathe and like not do anything. Like I don't have to like really like heat anything up. Like I microwave, but it's like I don't even want to do too much with that, you feel me? So times like this, I'll usually like meal prep on the weekend, and that saves me like so much trouble throughout the week. Because either like, you know, I can like, you'll see it later on, like I have those bell peppers. That is something that I can easily just throw in the oven. Like, you know, I don't have to do too much, especially if they're already stuffed. And with these tomatoes, it's like if I have certain ingredients like already made, it makes certain processes a little bit easier. That's why you see me like prepping a lot of like veggies and stuff like that, because I will use this throughout the week, or sometimes like 2 or 3 weeks, or even a month. So it's easier for me to just go ahead and have that done than like versus like it sitting in the fridge, and one, taking up space, and two, it might be going bad because, you know, I might not have energy like the next couple days, and I don't want things to go bad. So, you know, that's why I try to just meal prep when I actually have time to. That way it'll like make my life a little bit easier. And I feel like when it comes to meal prep, I feel like some people think of that as like, you know, prepping like actual meals, but sometimes it can be like, you know, you are prepping things that like you need for that meal. Like let's say I'm making quesadillas, I love to put in like those tomatoes, or like, you know, you'll see me later on use like buffalo chicken dip in wraps, like stuff like that. Like if I already have it made and all I have to do is like assemble it, that's a lot easier than me having to like cook everything and like, you know, create those different flavors. Like if I'm using like roasted like peppers and onions, like that's like 10-15 minutes of me doing that alone. Like versus like, you know, me doing that one day and then like me not having to do that on one, like the day I'm actually trying to cook, and saving so much time, you feel me? And when it came to these banana peppers, like I just wanted to like separate them into smaller containers just so it doesn't take up as much space, because like this is a big ass fucking jar, and it's easier for me to like, you know, put the little jars in like certain spaces and whatnot. And I'm actually almost out of all the bell peppers, so, you know, I'm going to have to like start pickling some, but it'll probably like be May before I actually even like pickle anything. Okay, so I'm taking these tomatoes out the oven like halfway, like when that timer goes off. And I used to actually cook these at like 400 degrees, or like even a little bit more than that. But it's so much easier to like burn them on accident when you do that. So I've been doing it like a little bit lower at 350. You could probably do like 375 too, but it's just like you need to be making sure that you're like checking on them, because like sometimes if you don't flip them, then they'll get like so burnt that it's like crispy, and like you can't like take it off the like tray or whatever. So, you know, just make sure you're checking on it and you don't have it up that high. I feel like it's an easier like process to cook them when they're not like, you know, on 400 like degrees. But anyways, I always have like candles lit, you know, it's just a vibe, it's just a vibe. But I'm cutting these bell peppers, and the first one I cut, like I forgot what I was doing, but I was using these bell peppers because I wanted to cut like the size of them, like the one that you see that's actually on the tray, so I can use these to basically put like buffalo chicken dip inside, because I had some buffalo chicken dip. Like mind you, this is like back in December, okay? So I had made some like buffalo chicken dip for like Christmas, and I was like, okay, well, I want to use this because I had extra, like I didn't take some over there on purpose, you know. So I was like, let me just use this like and make a whole little meal out of it. When it comes to me being in the kitchen, like sometimes when I be cooking, I just be making shit up just based on like, you know, what we have in the fridge or what we have in the pantry or whatever. So I just like think about like how can I use certain products and like just try to like actually get use out of them and not waste it. So this is just a thing for me to do. I've done this with like lentils, or like, you know, if you have like a taco like mix, like, you know, ground turkey or something like that, you can like actually like stuff these with almost anything. And I love like bell peppers in the oven and stuff. I keep bell peppers on hand. Like I need to have bell peppers onion, like minced garlic, like always on hand, and some potatoes. Like those are like the essentials. And it's so crazy because I don't have any minced garlic right now, and it be getting on my nerves when I be cooking certain things, because I'm like, bro, like where's my garlic? But I have to like remind myself to get it this weekend or something like that. But I know that I'm gonna have to be like restocking some stuff in the fridge and in the pantry, just because, you know, I haven't gone to the grocery store and like actually like restock. Like I bought like random things here and there, but I haven't like bought the stuff that I'm like, okay, you know, I need this when I be like cooking because I haven't really been cooking like that. Like I've been doing things like here and there, but I've been like so busy and just so tired that like I just have not really had the energy to like cook like a meal, if that makes sense. Like, you know, something with like a lot of different, like, you know, layers or like different, like, you know, elements in it. Like I haven't had the time or energy to do that, but I will be doing that a little bit sooner, because, you know, I like, you know, having like cooked meals and stuff. Like I don't really like eating fast food. Do I be eating sometimes? Yeah, especially if like I'm busy and stuff and I like haven't been eating as much as I should. Sometimes I just get food from like fast food places, and it's not healthy. And I know after a while my stomach is like, girl, if you don't eat some fresh food and stop fucking with this, like, you know, fast food and stuff, like. But yeah, I don't know, I just feel like my diet changes, like, you know, week to week, like month to month, really just based on like, you know, the season. Like, you know, it's springtime now, so like I feel like you can like find a lot more like fresh vegetables and stuff since it's in season, or it's like about to be in season. But with these bell peppers, like I had diced some of them and I used some of them as strips. You're gonna see me like, you know, marinate some stuff later on, but I'll be making like some pork chops in another Down South bowl video that's coming out soon, so, you know, stay tuned for that. I'm gonna try and like get used to like posting one at least. I would love to say once a week, but, you know, maybe like once every 2 weeks, at least once a month. So yeah, you know, if y'all want to see me cook anything in particular, like if you want me to do like a meal, like I did videos or whatever, because I used to watch those all the time like a couple years ago, and I still love like watching them when I find some. So if y'all want me to do something like that, please let me know. But yeah, I'm just gonna like chop up the rest of these like bell peppers, and I was gonna use all of them to stuff them with the buffalo chicken. There are some that I end up saving, just like, you know, use them for like future like recipes or just like meals and stuff. So when it comes to me and meal prepping vegetables, if I'm putting it in a Ziploc bag, 9 times out of 10, I'm actually like freezing it. Just that's an easier like storage, like, you know, tip for me. And then like when I'm putting it in like the fridge or whatever, usually I'll put it in like mason jars or like clear containers, because the clear containers like help me remember that I have this in the fridge, because like sometimes I be forgetting what we even have in the fridge, you feel me? But I just took out those tomatoes and I just like, you know, scoot them everywhere, if that makes sense. Like not necessarily flip, but just like toss them or whatever, just to make sure that anything, like nothing actually gets burned or whatnot. And then I forgot I had this like bell pepper I need to cut up, so you see me cutting it up here. I just decided to do strips. Like I said earlier, I'll be doing like these pork chops, so I basically want to like prep them like how I would prep steak, just because like I don't know, I feel like marinating certain different meats and stuff, it really be hidden. And I don't know, like sometimes it helps me because like there'll be times when I just need to meal prep, and then on Sunday I'll just like cook a lot of stuff. I feel like that's the best game plan for me, is to like meal prep one thing, like or meal prep a lot on one day, and then like actually cook it the next day. And then like, you know, if there's anything I need to freeze, I can freeze that, and then just have meals and stuff ready for the week. But I was putting those tomatoes back in the oven, and I just set a timer just to make sure that I check on them and like don't burn them up. But they were doing pretty good and stuff, but they did definitely need a little bit more time in the oven. And then I'm just chopping up these carrots. I had got them, and at first I was like actually going to think about putting them in with the pork chops, but then I changed my mind. But yeah, I just had these on hand just because I could put these like in the soup. I can like do a bunch of different things with these, so I was just like, let me just chop them up, because I didn't really want to use them as like the whole carrots. I did put like some whole carrots. I put a whole like actual bag of the carrots just in the freezer. So sometimes when I prep stuff, I like to have like different options of things Like, that way it's a little bit easier for me to like not have the same meal, if that makes sense. Like, I like to spice it up, you feel me? But I'm just gonna put these carrots in a Ziploc bag, and then I'm just gonna put them in the freezer. And now I'm going to stuff these bell peppers with some buffalo chicken dip. And if I really want to be extra, I could add like cheese on top, but I didn't feel like doing that. And I was like, I think this is good enough. So yeah, I just try to make sure I like fill each like as much as possible. And then I actually had another container of buffalo chicken dip in the fridge, but I didn't use all of them when I was stuffing these bell peppers. So that's why I ended up using those with the little tortilla wraps I'm doing. But yeah, you put some in there, and then like I pat it down, like try to make sure like every little area has some buffalo chicken dip, so there's just not like a empty gap. But yeah, I feel like a spoon is easier. You could use a fork, but I just like spoons. Or even if you want to like make sure you get the buffalo chicken dip in certain areas, you probably could use like a knife, like a little butter knife. As you see, like that last bell pepper has stuff, I probably could have used a butter knife to like smooth it out and like add more in there. But whenever I'm like doing certain things like this, like I put them on the plate and I put them in the freezer, and then once they have been actually frozen, then I'll put them in a Ziploc bag. I feel like this method in itself like makes it a lot easier for them to like not stick together. So that's what I'm doing right here. And then now we're moving on. I had these like tortillas that need to be used, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna add these in there. And I feel like that's an easy meal. Like if I don't have a lot of time, I could put it in the air fryer, I could just microwave it, or I could put it in the oven. So that's just an easy like little hack. And then like this is something I can have for like lunch, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not be having that much time to eat lunch, like and that's why I've been having migraines, because I don't be eating like sometimes at work. Like I might eat breakfast, or that might be like the only thing I ate, or I might just eat lunch. So yeah, I just need to do better, because girl, like it's just so much going on, and I had migraines today. So I'm like, I need to be eating more, and I need to eat healthier and stuff, and I need to like start taking my vitamins again. But since I was like kind of planning on like cooking these another day this week, I just put them in a little container, and then like I just like turned them sideways. That way I didn't want anything to like leak out. And then now I'm going to turn on the stove so I can like start cooking that spinach in a second. But while like that pot is getting warm, I'm going to go ahead and chop up these baby bella mushrooms. I love like adding mushrooms to different like meals and stuff, and I usually just chop them up like this. But sometimes if I want to like kind of make it like a faux meat, I will like kind of like dice it up. But I was like, this is good enough. And then if I do want it to be more of like a dice shape, I can go back and do that later on, and it won't be that big of a deal. But I was like, let me just chop these up like this. So mushrooms is another thing that I like try to keep on hand, just because you can throw it in anything. Like I can make a quesadilla out of it. I could do like a little like saute little moment with some different veggies and stuff. It's really versatile, and that's why I keep it on hand. And then y'all did see that I had those king oyster mushrooms. I ended up like chopping those up and like baking them in the oven after I had marinated them one day. So yeah, I'll probably like do a video on it again whenever I go and get some, or I might actually have some in the fridge, I don't even remember. But now that that pot is warm, I'm going to go ahead and add this bag of spinach, and then I'm going to add the other bag of spinach as well. And then I'm going to add a little bit of water just so it can like steam a little bit. And then the thing with spinach is that thing like be cooking down so much, like one bag is not even that much. But then I'm going to stir it around, and I'm just going to let it sit for a little second. And then while that is sitting, I'm going ahead and putting these mushrooms in a Ziploc bag. That way I can freeze them. Okay, so now that these tomatoes have cooled down, I'm going to just put them in a little mason jar just to keep them in the fridge. And when I want this on like a sandwich, I just take some out and I just like, spread it on like the piece of bread. Or I can use this in pasta, and usually I use it in pasta whenever I'm just cooking like a creamy pasta type. And then the last thing I'm going to chop up are these onions, and usually onions are like the last thing I chop up like when I'm cooking. And I'm going to use some of them like for like stir fries and stuff with the bell peppers. And then I am going to use some of these when I'm marinating those pork chops I was telling y'all about. So I cut them up different ways, and then like I have like usually like at least like 2 batches of onion, sometimes 3 or 4, just depending on how much like I like portion out. But like I said, onions are something I have to keep on hand, just because I like using them in a bunch of different stuff. Like I would literally throw them in almost anything. So yeah, so I took the skin off, and then I just started cutting them up. And I did cut up a lot of the like footage, because I'm telling y'all, I was cutting these onions up for like 7 minutes. And me with onions, sometimes they don't make my eyes water, but when they be making my eyes water, I be just trying to hurry up so bad so like I can stop chopping them up.
So I'm taking that Ziploc bag that has the bell peppers and onions, and I'm just adding some minced garlic. That's going to be for the pork chops. And then I'm taking those tomatoes, since they have cooled down now, and I'm putting them in another mason jar. And like I said, I'll throw these in with like salads. Like I could do like pasta, really whatever. Like if I'm just looking to add something else to a recipe or a meal, that's usually what I do. And then I'm taking some of that dill sauce, and now I'm taking like dub sauce. It's Worcestershire sauce, I think that's how you say it, but I'm just adding that into a little bag. And then you'll see me in another video like actually like season the pork chops. But I just want to say thank y'all so much for watching this video, and I love y'all so much, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.